What's going on, YouTube? This is your boy Jamar84 here once again, and we're here to do a review for this newest episode of The Walking Dead. I believe we're on episode 11, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all like my hair? I just got my hair redone over the weekend. Got my little braid out effect going on. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the episode. The episode starts with this new guy. We found out his name is Abraham Ford. I don't know if he said he was officer, commander, one of those rankings, but he has Tara on this truck, and they're out there killing walkers and shit. And one thing that Tara said, she's like, "I never seen that before." He's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You had a smile on your face, like you took pleasure in killing walkers." And I'm just like, when she said that, I'm like, this is nothing new. Like, at this point, I think they said it's been like a year and a half in. Like, if you're not used to killing walkers and you're not, able to deal with that, then you're probably dead by now. Because anybody who's stayed this long, they can handle themselves, and they shouldn't have any problem at this point with killing walkers. So it is what it is. So we move back to where Michonne and Carl are, eating some sort of cereal and whatnot, and Michonne had finally changed clothes, thank God. They're talking, little comical banter back and forth, and they get on the topic of soy milk somehow. I'm not sure how, but Carl's talking about, "Joe, I hate soy milk. I'd rather have powdered milk before I eat soy milk." You see, then he was like, "I'd rather eat Judah's formula." And then he stopped himself because then he stopped to realize that, damn, my sister is really gone. Or so he thinks. And he just kind of gets into like a funk. Pretty much for the duration of the episode. Because him and Michonne go hunting. Not really hunting, but the scouting for food in the little neighborhood area. And Michonne is trying to, make Carl laugh. Like, they stopped through one house. I guess they entered the house and split up. And then when they came back out, she was like, "No, did you find anything cool? Did you find any comic books? Did you find, any toys?" or whatever she said. And then Carl was just kind of like, he's kind of distant, and, he's like, "Nah, I didn't find anything." And she was like, "Did you find any crazy cheese?" And then she pulled out some damn crazy cheese, and crazy cheese started to trend, and I think it's still trending on Twitter. And, Carl's just in this funk, like, and he's like, he kept trying to say that I'm fine, and then Michonne's like, "Bitch, no, you're not fine." So, he pretty much is just like, "Oh, I'm tired," and whatnot. He's just not really giving a damn. So, when they get to this next house that they're about to pillage, or whatever, Michonne says, she tries to apologize, because I think she thinks she triggered something, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I'm not really used to helping boys like your age laugh." And then he was like, "Well, and I was laughing on the inside." Because she was like sprayed cheese in her mouth and just making silly faces and shit. And Carl just wasn't really with it at the time. So he starts asking her questions like, "Wait, you had children?" or something along those lines. And Michonne at first wasn't really trying to answer. So she made a deal with him. She was like, "Okay." Because he was asking her, like, "Were you married? How many kids did you have? What was the kid's name?" He was getting all up in Michonne's business. And Michonne was like, "Look, I'll answer one question per room after we've cleared it." So they start going through the clearing the stuff room, and she tells him that her son's name was Andre Anthony. I believe that was his name. And that was the only child that she had. And I think that was pretty much the only information that they really exchanged, and that she hadn't told anybody, and not even Rick. And it's not really a secret. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of like one of those things where if you don't ask, then I guess there's no need to really talk about it, or she wasn't ready to talk about it. So we move on to Rick. This is where shit gets interesting. So Rick falls asleep. Rick went home after sending Michonne and Carl out to go through the neighborhood. He gets home, I guess starts reading a book, and he falls asleep. Rick woke the fuck up, and he starts hearing shit. At first, I thought he was dreaming or something. But he wakes up and realizes there's somebody in the motherfucking house. There's like a group of people coming through the house. And so he's like, "Oh shit, what the fuck do I do?" So he hides underneath the bed. And there's a guy that ends up walking in, and he gets all on the bed and shit. And so Rick is just sitting there because when he's underneath the bed, and the guy gets on top of the bed, so the bed kind of sinks in on top of him, and Rick is just sitting there like, oh shit, like what the fuck do I do? So that's where they leave Rick. We pan back over to Miss Michonne, and Michonne is looking at paintings and such, and she's looking through this room, and she walks through the little bathroom or whatever, through the bedroom, and she sees this big girly pink room that's really nicely decorated. And but then there's like two sets of bodies. What looks like the parents with one set. The other set looked like a couple of girls, looked like little young girls, like preteens. And then there was what looked like a girl in the rocker chair, and all of them had their heads blown off. And I guess it was kind of like one of those, let's end it now since we can't really make it in this world. And it was kind of sad to see, but the room was beautiful. The room looked really, really nice from what I could see. But, Michonne was just so horrified, and she just went out the door and closed it. And Carl was like, what's wrong? She was like, oh, nothing. And he was like, was there a dead baby? He was like, there's a dead baby in there, isn't there? He was like, no, she was like, it's a dog. Just a dog. So she just tried to cover, because don't nobody want to see that. It's just sad to see. Don't nobody really want to see all that. So after we see from the scene with Michonne and Carl with the dead people, we go back over to Rick. Rick is still underneath the bed. By this time, this man has fallen asleep, and some guy is up there looking for him, and he comes up, and he's like, hey, I want to come in here. I want to lay down. And the other dude was like, well, there are other rooms. You can go lay down there. He's like, well, they're all kid rooms, and I want to lay down here. In my mind, I'm thinking, I believe this is a double bed. Like, are y'all really just? I mean, is it really that serious? That y'all sitting there making an argument about what bed that fits for two people? But you know how men do. They feel like they can't sleep within 100 feet of each other. So pretty much the guys get into a fight. Basically, they sit there struggling while Rick's underneath the goddamn bed, hoping for his damn life. The other dudes, they get on the floor, and can you imagine, if you've seen it, you imagine this dude sitting up here looking face up, fighting this dude. He getting hit in the face and shit. And so he started getting put into what looks like the sleeper hold. And so he gets hit, and he's looking over, and he sees Rick, but can't say shit because his fucking throat is locked. So he's sitting there staring Rick in the damn face as he's getting passed the fuck out. I thought he was getting killed, but, that turns out not to be the case. But, he just sit there and looked Rick dead in his face, and he was just like, well, I mean, hell, at Rick's position, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, I'm trying to look out for me right now. Fuck you, sir. You're already fucked up, but it is what it is. So then we pan back and forth. This episode had like a lot of back and forth between characters. We weren't really with nobody for too long. We just kind of, bounced back and forth a lot. So we get to where Glenn is. Glenn wakes up on this bus, and with Tara, and he's like still in the fucking days, like, what the fuck's going on? I don't remember shit, doing all that. And because he just passed out before, the new guy, that Abraham Ford guy, came along. And so he's like, because they're on the bus heading somewhere, and Tara's like, I don't know what the fuck we at. I'm just in the back driving, or in the back riding. So, not Rick, but Glenn is like, do we pass the bus? And she's like, what bus you talking about? Well, no, she knew what bus she was talking about, but it was like, it's been like 3 hours since we passed that bus. And at that point, Glenn, I would have been like, you know what? If it's been 3 hours ago, driving, trying to go somewhere back, walking is kind of, for what? If you're going to try to convince them, I'm going to try to convince their asses to go back the other way, because you trying to walk there. Like, Glenn is so headstrong and in love and shit. It's admirable, but at the same time, I just feel like it's going to get him killed. If they decide to kill him, that's going to be the reason that they get him killed. And so he stops the bus. He's banging on the damn windshield, making him stop the damn bus. And he's like, I'm about to go because I had to go back and, find my wife. And the other guy pretty much tells him, no, we need you. We need to you need to help me get this scientist to Washington, D.C. Because he knows how this thing started and he's going to save the world. I'm like, oh, really? Uh-oh. Camera shaking. Like, so, oh, really? So he knows how to, what's going on? Like, are we going to figure this out? Are we going to learn this episode? Or what? But I'm thinking, like, what could he really, I mean, no doubt that he's smart, but, like, what could he really know? Because I remember the last time we had a scientist who knew what the fuck was going on. That, in season 1, that whole lab blew the fuck up, and that guy was pretty much kind of crazy. And, let's see. Yeah, so that was pretty much the guy's mission. The guy's argument was like, we need you, you can't go back, we need you to help save the world, and this is more important than somebody who's probably dead, given that kind of spiel. So as he's trying to follow Glenn and convince him of this, Glenn ends up stopping. He's still talking. He turns around and knocks him dead in his shit. Glenn gives him a nice right hook. And so they're fighting or whatever, but and while they're sitting there fighting and the Tara's yelling to make them break up, the other scientist dude is over there by the truck and he sees a walker coming. And he's like, hey, Walker, we got walkers. And he's like, oh, fuck it. They're not listening. He's sitting up there struggling, trying to put the damn gun in the shit. He's like, struggling with the shit. He tries to fire that shit. That shit just start going all every which way. He done shot the whole damn truck up, put holes in everything. Then, then they finally realize, oh shit. So, they come running and they shoot all the walkers and whatnot, and they realize that this nigga done shot holes in the goddamn fuel tank, or this is what it looked like. I'm like, child, this man is something else, I swear. So, after they realize that they shot the fuel tank, we pan back over to Rick. And long story short, Rick crawls out. And by this time, it looked like it's like it's evening. I'm wondering, like, where the fuck is, Rick, Carl and Michonne at this point? I'm like, shouldn't they have gotten back by now? But Rick is maneuvering through the damn house, and he goes into the bathroom on this dude that was taking a damn shit. This dude was sitting up there on the damn, well, no, he couldn't have been taking a shit because he still had clothes on, but he was sitting in the bathroom, and they see each other, and he, chokes him up, and the guy's trying to grab some scissors to stab him, but Rick ends up making him, I guess choking him to death. He climbs out the window and gets on the front porch. So now Rick is in hiding. We pan back over to Glenn and them, and pretty much they're all following Glenn because they feel like, well, we can't go anywhere in the damn trucks. We might as well follow this motherfucker. And the other guy's like, what do you think? Eugene is the guy with the smart guy who shot up the damn truck, is talking to the Abraham guy. He's like, what should we do? Or Abraham said, what should we do? The guy's like, we follow him. We follow him until we get a new vehicle and then we leave. And he was like, believe me, I'm smarter than you. I was like, oh, bitch. You sure? I was like, he secretly tried it, but it is what it is. And then the last scene comes from Rick is hiding, and some dude is sitting up there right by the porch. Like, this whole time, they just barely missed Rick. I'm like, oh my gosh. I feel like in real life, they would have been saw his ass. But he's hiding, and the guy's sitting up there on the damn porch, like right above him, and then he sees Michonne and Carl coming. He's like, shit. What am I going to do? I think he was about to try to turn over and shoot him in the head, but he couldn't shoot him in the head. Because as soon as he was about to shoot him in the head, some noise distracted him, and he ran back into the house. And when he ran back in the house, Rick hauled ass over to Carl and Michonne, like, we gotta go. So they walking on the railroad and shit, and they see the little sign, this similar sign to what Maggie and them saw last week about some refuge or safe house or whatever it is. And so they start heading in that direction. So it looks like they're all going to probably end up meeting up in this refuge area for whatever. And then that's going to, when they all get together, they'll face some sort of obstacle when they all get there. You know how The Walking Dead, they'll just kind of drag out and show who's doing what, and then they'll all just meet up. So that's pretty much the episode, you guys. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the videos. I'll see you guys this week for Bad Girls Club and another Q&A episode. So thank you guys so much for watching and supporting, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.